On March 15th, the Trump administration used the Alien Enemies Act to deport 238 Venezuelans to be held at a Salvadorian maximum security prison known as CECOT. And they did this claiming that these people they were deporting were members of Tre de Aragua, which the Trump administration has labeled as a foreign terrorist group and a wartime enemy. And of course, the problem with this is that the people who were being sent to be held at CECOT were denied due process, and the Trump administration offered absolutely no evidence that the people who were being sent there had any sort of criminal record, much less that they were affiliated with Tre de Aragua. And as Axios pointed out, a lack of evidence of a criminal record is consistent with many other immigrant removals under the Trump administration, because if you'll recall, they did the same shit with Guantanamo Bay, where they claimed to be sending the worst of the worst, only for them later to come out and admit that they were actually sending low-risk migrants to be held at Guantanamo Bay. And in case you're unfamiliar with what low-risk means, low-risk detainees are defined as migrants who face deportation because they are in the U.S. illegally, but who have not been arrested or convicted of violent offenses or other serious crimes. In other words, despite claiming that they were sending the worst of the worst, they were sending people with no criminal record. And now with these 238 people that the Trump administration sent to a Salvadorian gulag without due process, that they're claiming are foreign terrorists, that they're claiming are violent criminal members of Tre de Aragua, it's come out that actually most have no criminal record. And that was released by CBS, but here's this report from Axios that talks about the fact that 75% of the 238 immigrants sent to the Salvadorian prison have no criminal record. At least 22% of the men on the list have criminal records in the United States or abroad, but a vast majority are for non-violent offenses like theft, shoplifting, trespassing. Only a dozen, that's 12 out of the 238, are accused of murder, rape, assault, and kidnapping. No one denies that we should get rid of people who are committing violent crimes. No one denies that people who commit rape, murder, kidnapping should be arrested, charged, prosecuted, and then made to carry out their sentence, and then finally being deported. But that's not what's happening here. What's happening here is innocent people with no criminal records who came to the United States in search of a better life are being denied due process and then are essentially being disappeared or are being sent to foreign gulags. And that includes people like André Hernandez Romero, who came to the United States seeking asylum, was going through the asylum process. He was fleeing El Salvador because he was being targeted for being gay and for his political views. And now he is being sent back to the same nation that he fled after being falsely accused of being a member of a transnational gang with absolutely no due process, with absolutely no evidence. What sickens me about this is how conservatives seem to be okay with this. In fact, they seem to be jolly about this, about the deportation of people who are going through an asylum process, the doing away of due process, the fact that they cheer on the disappearance of people simply because they express opinions contrary to theirs. Like, is this what's become of America? You think this isn't going to affect you? You're happy because it's only affecting immigrants or undocumented or asylum seekers and not U.S. citizens such as yourself? Well, let me give you a little news flash. If they come for us in the day, they will come for you at night.